Alright guys, welcome indeed to part 12 of our entire Path of Exile walkthrough, or technically this is like part 2 of the endgame. So, what we're going to be doing now is we're going to be doing the next lab. So now we are in an area called the Hideout. If you want to travel to your own hideout, you can just go to any area where you'd see a waypoint, or if you need to, you can talk to Helena in some towns, and I believe you can also access it through just going there to visit your hideout. So we can go to, let's say, the Curry Shores, and then we would go to Helena over here. And we would talk to her. Hello. And we could just select a hideout if we want to change our hideout. Because you can get multiple hideouts. You can actually purchase them as well, but it doesn't give you any extra advantage if you purchase them. As we're going to be progressing, we're going to be wanting to upgrade our gear. I'll briefly go over kind of what we've got in terms of gear, as well as we're going to be getting some gems. Now, wherever you go to place your hideout, you can also place items in your hideout, and this is actually important. So the first thing that you're going to probably want to place is like the map device. So before I showed you guys that like you're going to be wanting to put in your maps is where you put in the maps and you just do the maps, right? Now, we just got an item from the Maven. So if you start progressing, eventually you're going to actually get a boss that gets like buffed up by this other boss, and it'll just kind of happen naturally. And once you defeat it, she'll drop an orb, you'd go to it, and then now we'll have this ability on the map device to be able to take this on and off. So when this is on, it makes your bosses much harder, but you'll encounter the Maven, and it's going to buff up the boss. But as long as Maven watches you fight a few bosses, what will happen is eventually you can actually go in and actually do a little like fight, and it's gonna have multiple bosses, and we'll show more of that later. But I'd recommend for most people just to turn this off in the very beginning, unless you feel like your damage is way through the roof. I'll talk more about in terms of upgrades what I've gotten, and other suggestions for people that are just playing Path of Exile for the end game. So what you're really looking to do is get more than just like armor or life for your defenses, or just like armor, evasion, energy shield. You want more than that. So on everyone's tree, here's what I personally pathed out. So I got some extra life nodes over here just in case anyone's following the guide. I got some, I think, life nodes there. But there are other ways to get life via getting jewels. There's also cluster jewels that we'll get into later. But for the most part, I'm just getting life. Like you can see basically where we went on the tree. They're in that Conqueror's efficiency over here just because I wanted some extra mana reservation efficiency. So that's like a little nice touch. But in addition to that, you want to go look for spell suppression on your pieces of gear, or you can get chance to block. Like either one is really good to get. So after getting some chaos orbs and just buying some stuff by just doing the maps, we have 17 left here. Most of these items can be purchased for like 1 to 2 chaos orbs that we have. So like for example, these gloves, I just looked for gloves that had life and some resistances on them, and again, anywhere from like a few chaos orbs should be sufficient to pick up like some gloves. There's some that had some armor. This belt over here, I purchased a belt that had the cannot be ignited modifier as the implicit on it, and I bought this for 1 chaos orb, and then you can either roll essences on it to hope that you hit life. Basically life plus literally anything else would be like a nice other benefit, but pretty much all it really got was life on it. Then I just crafted the resistances. But going into the hideout, because I probably should also explain this because it's actually pretty important. So if you go to decorations, you can go under utility and you can place a crafting bench. I'd placed mine over here, but you can place all of these things. If I go to edit, I can move like the Sentinel locker. I can place that wherever I want. The second ring over here, if I drag it, it can like spin it around. So there's a lot of things you can place in your hideout though. And some of these NPCs you'll have to just meet in the middle of like the end game content, like the maps, and then you can add them to your hideout, and certain ones will do other things. As far as the important ones though, obviously you want the waypoint. Tane you'll acquire as you progress in the maps, but you'll definitely want Kyrak. There's certain ones that you'll definitely want to have inside of your hideout. Like you obviously want certain NPCs that you want to interact with, but specifically one that is going to be kind of important is going to be Lily. Remember that tier quest, and if you don't know what the tier quest is, that's going to be in Act 10. You can, it's either 9 or 10 actually, but you can do this quest that will give you Lily's ability to purchase any of the gems from her. So you can consider this if you are just playing the game as well, but I'm going to mention that like there are some gems that we will want to purchase from her, but I'm going to talk a little bit more about gear first, and then we're going to do the next lab here. So do a few maps. Right now we're at level 73. Be about level 70 at least to try to do the 3rd lab. There's going to be a 4th lab that we'll do as well, but that would be a good like area-ish to think about. So I bought this wand. It was like 40. I believe they're about 40 chaos right now. Sometimes you can get them for a little bit cheaper. What it does is it gives us +1 to light all spell gems instead of lightning, but it doesn't really matter. You can roll lightning, minion, or spell gems. Obviously, spell gems would be the best one, but you also want trigger a socketed spell when you use a skill, and it has a cooldown on it. That's the only reason why I got this one. Rings are basically the same, so no upgrades here. I purchased this armor for 13 chaos orbs. What this armor is, it's just a 6-link. What we added to our build was, right now we have elemental focus, we have minion damage, added lightning, controlled destruction, and physical lightning, and then of course absolution still. So I just looked for a really cheap one that I can buy. I could probably replace this really soon, but it was just an armor that was 6-link that I wanted the colors for. And then as far as the helm goes, nothing too special with it, just rolled armor. It has some chaos resistance on it. Again, you can get these for like 5 chaos orbs at most, maybe 1 to 5. Like, we haven't upgraded our amulet at all, but I'm going to mention some of the other upgrades here. But look for stuff that has life and resistances all over, and you should start looking at chaos resistance. Now this league is actually pretty tough, and I'll also mention some other buffs to take into consideration as well. Determination is one really nice thing to have. So in terms of like our gems, in this one specifically that I'm running are the Scepter. Since I have trigger socketed spell, you might not be able to buy this now, but I'm just mentioning it for future reference because it's really good to have. But being able to cast certain things like Desecrate are really nice. Later we're going to have Bone Offering, but right now Convocation's on auto, so basically when I use my Flame Dash, it'll automatically cast a skill. But instead of it using mana, because I'm kind of having mana issues, I'm going to run Life Tap, so it spends life instead of mana, so that's kind of nice. And then what else did I run that's different? Okay, so Determination's a huge aura. I recommend you guys to get this as well if you're following this as like a guide. But just in general, almost every PoE like character will want Determination for the most part. It gives you a massive amount of extra armor. You can purchase this gem again at Lily, so that's why I always recommend to do the tier quest. But if not, you can go back and do it. It's not a big deal for you to go back to another act. But yeah, you can get pretty much most of the gems that I'm talking about. In fact, all these gems I think you can pretty much get here. So yeah, so we got Determination, we got Animate Guardian. We're kind of leveling this one up, but I'm also, oh, hold on, this guy wants to buy something, so I'm just going to go invite this person to the game here. So let's go to sell, and I think I put it in this tab over here. So, like, occasionally, what did you want? Plague Cloak? Okay, so we're going to sell this for 2 Chaos Orbs, so we're just going to go trade. This is just like an easy way so you guys can see us trade, so I'm just going to, oops, there we go. And we are done. I'm just going to leave the party. And anyways, back to like items. We're looking at gems. So I still have Flame Dash. I have Ray Zombie, Feeding Frenzy, Carrion Golem, Skitterbots, Conductivity, Bone Offering. Okay, so Bone Offering is a new skill. So how it works is if I use it, it's going to I believe it consumes a corpse, and then it gives us our minions a chance to block attack and spell damage, which is actually really good. It makes the minions survive a lot more, but we're actually going to be benefiting off of it because we're going to be doing the 3rd lab. And this is like great for anyone that's specifically Necromancer really that's going to consume corpses, but there might be some other builds that can use it. But I'm more so just talking about this in general for doing the 3rd lab. But we're going to be actually getting Mistress of Sacrifice, so it will help us. But in addition to that, you should think about leveling up gems that you may want to use in the future on your second weapon swap. So if I click over here, or I think it might be W for default, but I have my key bound to like X, but I'm leveling up other things. I want Spell Echo, so I'm leveling that up. I'm leveling up at Tempest Shield, Zealotry as well, and Defiance Banner. If you want to level these up as well, you can start now just so later you'll have them. But even if you don't have the weapon equipped, like right now we have the Scepter. Technically this is on our secondary, like it's equipped, but we don't have it like it's equipped in our inventory, but it's not equipped like as in our characters using the item. We can still get the benefit of it, as in like we're still leveling it up, if that makes any sense. But if you have any buffs that are linked to here, we definitely need to reactivate them. So like if we had zombies before, we'll have to resummon our zombies, because when we swap weapons, they all go away because we don't have them like equipped. They're just in the inventory, if that makes sense. So level up some of those if you want to. It's kind of optional, but this league is actually quite difficult. So now we're going to go and do the 3rd lab. So we're going to go over here and just go to the Esperance Plaza. The 3rd lab is relatively easy as well. I mean, the difficulty, honestly, in this league really comes down to just the rare monsters. All right, so we can go to the Merciless Lab, and it says 68 as like, I think it's like it requires you to like minimum. I think it has a minimum requirement, but yeah, just about 70 it should be a-okay. Don't activate any of these. This area, you definitely want to take your time on it. Although I'm going to be rushing super fast. And then we'll talk more about like the map atlas and like kind of what I've spec'd into as well. But we'll do this whole thing just so you guys can kind of see it. But keep in mind, these can change as the day goes on. There's something for like, I think a bonus reward, so I'm just going to leave. Okay, let's keep on continuing. A quality, to the bone offering. I mean, you're talking about just buying one off someone else? Is that what you meant? I mean, right now I'm doing this as like a new player's guide, so like having them purchase a like one that has quality. I don't know what the price. Sometimes you can get like level 20 gems for like 5. Chaos orbs. Sometimes there are certain gems that are like cheaper. It's just because they like drop and like really no one wants them. They're more like niche. But it just makes it easy to buy from Lily. But later we can quality up all of our gems really easy by getting our gem to level 20 and then doing a vendor recipe where you put in a gem cutter's prism and the gem at level 20. And what that will actually do is make it so the gem will actually reset to level 1. But it will have 20 quality. So it's another way to get like a massive amount of damage. Like most of the things in the game will get you 20% like damage or like 20% of like something. It can be cooldown, area of effect, something. Like for example with Absolution, it grants us like I actually have 10% quality on it because I did something on a map from a harvest and it just granted me a random amount of like quality on a gem, and I'm leveling up that one. But don't feel like you need to get a bunch of GCPs and upgrade them now. We're kind of still early on in the endgame department right now. But yeah, this league has actually been quite difficult. So many people are complaining about the difficulty, and I don't really blame them. This is one of the hardest like leagues with the map modifiers on the enemies for like the Soul Eater, Juggernaut. Like there's just so many mods that these enemies have, and it makes it a lot more difficult for newer players. But just keep on going. Oh, you don't like the Sentinel modifier? I mean, for me, it's just most of the modifiers I think are okay on their own, but some of them when you combine like too many like things that are offensive or defensive, like multiple offensive ones or defensive ones, I think they should relook at maybe making certain combinations impossible, as in like you don't make it so there's like so many more times on damage, if that makes sense. Like, and that can be really annoying to deal with for a lot of characters, especially like in vulnerability, like that one, where it's just like no matter what, you're not gonna be able to kill the monster. Oops, we almost died right there, but that's okay. Now the last lab, this is the second to the last one that we're doing. The last one you cannot die on and just go back in for free. You actually have to basically pay to get in. You have to use what's called an offering to the goddess. They're not super expensive though. It's really not a super big deal. It's just more of a hassle and annoying this thing. But oh yeah, if they have regen between the blocking, yeah, that could be really frustrating to deal with. And hopefully they'll do something about that, you know. Some specters. There, throw down the conductivity on him, but we should have way more than enough damage for Azaro. Yeah, we just have enough. And I think that, like, no joke, a yellow monster on a map is stronger than Azaro, which is like, this is like a more unique sort of an enemy where he's supposed to be really powerful, right? Because he gives you the ability to ascend, whereas just some random yellow monster on the map is way, way stronger than him. And it's because this game, at the moment, I think they need to rework some of the rares. They actually already mentioned that, like, they kind of messed up on this league. They're like, okay, we overtuned it just a bit. And, I mean, at least they can admit to it, that they overtuned it. those. Keep on going. There's 2 hot fixes, really? Oh, I thought there was just 1. But if there's 2 hot fixes, there could be another. And I think, like I said, it just comes down to too many modifiers that are just like way too difficult. Like if it's just, if they fix that, I think that can be another way to like make it a lot easier without them having to tone down the numbers. But they could also tone down the numbers. I actually think they should though. Like if I was them, I would definitely do it. So sometimes you can get some OK rings. I guess this wasn't their path to go to, but sometimes there'll be just like rewards. We might actually have to go over here. Okay, is this one gonna heat up? Okay, I guess this one does. Oh, it does heat up. It just gave us a long time. Oh, gotta watch out for these. If these hit us, start bleeding, we can take a lot of damage. But like, look at this one. There's some traps. There's the fire thing going off at the same time. So it's really, a lot of these things just start compounding, and that's why it would get so difficult. Like, so many of these like yellow minions, again, you could just instantly die to them, and it does feel bad for sure. There's so many like streamers that normally like will have like 0 deaths, and they're like, dude, I've died like 70 times this league so far, and I'm like just new to map. So if you were dying also, like if any of you guys are dying this league, don't worry. Like this is a tough league for sure. Oh yeah, and oh yeah, I would not want to play melee this league. In fact, I've always felt like melee had a huge disadvantage in PoE. Once 3.15 came out, where they like made mana cost like much higher, on top of that, they just did a lot of nerfs to damage. Melee just felt so bad that I will never want to play melee unless they come out with a new melee skill that's like really good. I have very little interest in doing it. So now we're coming up to a gold door. You'll also come across it in some form. We're going to actually go and look for the key first. That's where the door is. There's Gargantuan over here. Get rid of this thing. And on these ones, you can take your time. The area is 68. We're 73 right now. But yeah, as long as you're about level 70, you should be A-okay. Okay, so we'll stop right here. Then we can step right here. And we can take our time. But I'm actually just going to rush it. I'm going to wait for that one, actually, though. And then we'll go here. But yeah, if you have Flame Dash, it makes things so much easier. This one's actually really easy. The last one's going to be a lot more difficult. But it's the same concept, really. It's just like the entrance feed is something that does exist. But yeah, you definitely want to do this thing ASAP because we're going to get a huge amount of survivability. So if you were dying, we're going to be getting... well, we could have used Bone Offering at any point. Oh, that does a lot of damage. So now we use the golden key on the golden door. Which one doesn't matter if it's left or right? Not really. They'll eventually get you to the same spot, so. That way you can actually only go this way, because the other way would have been locked off for the other key. If any of your minions die, make sure you resummon them. Because at any point in this league with the yellow monsters, you can just instantly die. Don't click on any of the chests. It's not worth it. Oh gosh, some of these traps can be kind of dangerous. Let's see if we can go skip it. Some of them will require you to do like a puzzle to progress. Alright, now we're on the second one. We're all good. I mean, this should be easier than the maps, but like I wanted to level up a couple times. Just to be sure. So we're on the second phase. Remember, there's 3 phases of Zaro. Always 3 phases. So when you hear that sound, that's when you want to move. I think he's already in his... You can't hit me phase. He's dead. Okay. So there we go. And then now... the next one will be the final one, and then we're going to get a huge boost. So we can actually go 2 different ways. We can actually get this elemental resistances, more damage. This one's actually really great as well. I'm already res capped though. Oh, we should probably move out of the way. But take your time on this. Again. Oh, this one looks pretty deadly. Do some chests. Oh, the switch is over on the side. That was not actually that bad. And we're done? Ooh, I don't even know what that one thing does, but... Oh, more of the saw traps. Let's see, is it right here? So we are right here. So as long as we don't go to the key area, we went to the key area. It's just kind of the luck of the draw, so it might be over here. Oh, there we go. State crossing. Let's open up this again. We are in the clear, so it should be like to the right. Careful, those porcupines, those things. One of the worst enemies to run into, honestly. When they explode and they hit you with their like on death. And if you don't have your flasks up, definitely kill some more monsters. I don't think this is going to be the right way. No, it's not. So we're going to go back. Oh, we got to go all the way around, of course. Alright, we're on the trial. Alright, here it is. The moment. The spitting spike. We got the fire. Skeletons here? No, no skeletons. Woo, we got him. He dropped a 6. Sometimes there are still monsters here, be careful. I recommend just go straight here before you get too excited. And we're going to open up the treasure chest. Woo! Didn't get anything off that. Now we get to... oh, that's actually not that bad. Increase Skitterbot's area of effect. I could actually use that. I do use Skitterbots, so we can throw this enchantment on the helmet. Cool. Usable enchantment. Sometimes you always don't get a useful enchantment. So that's awesome. And then the Altar of Ascendancy. Woo! We completed the quest. So I'm going to go this route right now. We're going to get this one anyways, but if you really need the resistances, sure. But resistances are much easier to get than getting like all this amount of block. It's going to be super nice. Now I'm going to take this Bone Offering, which grants minions 32% chance to block, attack, and spell damage. We're going to get 50% of that, I believe. It's they affect you, but you have 50% reduced effect. And then we can also get this minion node, I think is here. 20% increase effective offering. We're going to get that as well. So we will go right back to town. And now we can actually do that. So it's good like 20-ish minutes with that. Let's go back to my hideout and we'll talk a little bit more about like gearing our character and stuff. So now we are going to take the Bone Offering. Instead of using Convocation, I can still use Convocation. I'm just not going to put it on my autocast. Sure, I could have autocast on my Bone Offering as well as Convocation, but I like to have Desecrate on this as well so I don't have to cast it. This is specifically for bosses, so there's corpses that exist so I can use my Bone Offering. But this is going to be granting us a large amount of block. So right now, in terms of block, we have 23% chance to block attack damage, and that's with our shield. And if I do this, now we have 39% chance to block and 16% chance to block spell damage. We're going to start scaling block. And again, if you're playing this, if you're watching this video and you're not specifically playing like what I'm playing and you don't have a shield, you can get spell suppression. That's another thing that you can take into consideration. But you need to get more than just life and like armor. You need to think about spell suppression as well as a block. There's some block nodes over here. There's some extra ones over here. And there's also glancing blows, which can be a viable option. Because you can get like, when you block, you recover a % of your life. And so some people want to go low amount to block, but then the block gets doubled. Block is capped at 75%. But that number can be tactically increased by a certain, like, there's certain things that will increase it over it, but I don't think you can get a 100% chance to block. I think it caps out at some point, but I know you can go over, which is default 75. There's a flask that you can get called Rumi's Concoction that we will think about getting. If it's relatively cheap, we can maybe get it right now, but it also gives you a block. But think about other ways of getting defenses. And pretty much at this point, what we're doing in terms of our Atlas, what I actually like to do is I get the Shrine one just because getting a Shrine is kind of nice to have, and I actually spec out into more of the Shrine nodes. Over here there's some, and then there's some over here. But the first thing that I will recommend a lot of people to rush is the Stream of Consciousness. So the reason why it's super good is on the Atlas skill tree, and this is again, how you get these skill points is you just do the maps and you make sure you do the bonuses. So if you hold Alt, you can see which one's complete or not complete. But the reason why I like this, you have 50% more base chance to get extra content. So that's all of the things they list: abysses, breaches, blight encounters, all the other little like things that can happen in the maps happen, but your maps can't be modified by fragments. Fragments is a different form of currency where inside where we basically put in the map, we can put in extra little things. Now you can't put like this thing in here, but like you get extra little things to put in to make the map a little bit harder or adds more content. In the very beginning, you're not going to really have any of those things to make use out of it. So the fact that you can't put those in, but you get 50% more base chance to get extra content, that's way better. So what I recommend most people do, get this early on. You can respec out of it. It's literally 1 point, and it's pretty much in the middle, so like everyone can have access to it. I like to get these shrine nodes, so I'm gonna get this one. I'll think about getting some more shrine nodes. This is also a very good way to get extra currency as well. To get the what is it, the Eater of Worlds altars in your maps, which is like a thing that you can spawn in, but it does make the map harder, so I would suggest maybe this a little bit for later. But early on, this is really good. You can consider getting shrines. All these things are going to make your maps technically easier in a sense, and this gives you more. Harbingers are also very popular. I personally don't like Harbingers because I think it takes way too long to do them because you have to wait. The rewards, technically, yeah, you can get exalted shards off of it, and there's like a node where like it drops it in the full amount of currency instead of the shard. That chance is so small. Like I played this for last league. I did not get one full exalt with it. It was just exalt shards once in a while, and those were still very rare. But the guaranteed 100% getting a shrine on every single map, that really helps out your speed too. So I like getting that. That's at least what I want to do, and this is going to wrap up this part. But yeah, just keep on doing maps. You can see how many maps we've done. We've done almost 20 of them, and we're just going to keep on doing maps. If you've done this, like the map already, what you can do, like see how this one's adjacent to it? Do more ramparts, and hopefully you can get a bizarre map. So they're going to kind of drop with the adjacent one. There's things that you can do to modify this later with these favorite maps. But also, go to Commander Kyrax, check for new maps. Again, hold Alt. You can see there's another map over here. Some maps are different than just go and kill the boss. You have to do some like weird thing, and you're just going to have to kind of look those up because I can't really explain all of them in this short amount of time. But I'll explain some more later. But anyways, thanks for tuning in for part 11 of our PoE. If you enjoyed the video, drop a like on your way out, and I will see you guys in another video for more stuff with the endgame and what to do on the endgame and PoE. Take care, and I'm out. Peace.